Today I'm going to do a transmission fluid drain and filter change on my 2010 4Runner here in the driveway. Alright, so I've actually moved it out on the street here, so instead of laying on gravel I can lay on some asphalt and be a little less painful. I'm going to take my drain pan here, go ahead and slide it underneath. Now that I'm underneath the vehicle, this is our check plug, our drain plug, and up in there is our fill plug. First thing I need to do is loosen it. If it won't loosen, then I can't proceed because I'll have no way of refilling the transmission when I'm done. All right, I've got a socket here. Make sure I'm going the right way. I'm using a 15th 16th for this. It's actually a 24 metric, but all I have is deep well, so I couldn't get that up in here. But this doesn't have that much difference. And it is tight, that's for sure. All right, broke loose. Good deal. Well, it's still tight. Hopefully it wasn't just the socket jumping. No, go turn at the socket. There we go. All right. Pull this out and look at the O-ring on this. Make sure it's in good condition still, so I can reuse it. The next plug is my check plug, and as you see it's labeled check there. Sorry for the shaky hand. This uses an Allen wrench, size 5 in your metric. And this goes in there. Everything's pretty tight. I may have to find one to use a ratchet with. A little set here break on me. I don't want that to happen. Oh, it broke loose, as you quite noticeably heard there. Alright, I'm gonna get my head out from underneath this and get a drain pan under it, so when I loosen this, if it starts dripping, that's not on me. All right. And it is coming out of the check plug there pretty good. All right, now that that one is finished gushing, I'm going to work on the drain plug itself, and it is, and also metric, what do I have here? A 14. Apparently it was the loosest one of all. And let it drain. And now that that has slowed down, I'm gonna go ahead and start loosening all the pan bolts. And they are 10 millimeter. So if you can find your 10 millimeter, get it out and do it. If not, go buy another one. But I've got mine. Just go around and loosen them all. Work above my head here with one hand. Alright, when you get down to 4 bolts, 1 in each corner left, have them in there still but loose. They're not all tightened up. You may have to take a rubber mallet or soft blow hammer and pop on this to get it seal to break loose. Mine just came loose real easy on its own. I didn't have to tap it or anything. It just popped loose while I was loosening the bolts. And when you drop your pan, there will be more fluid left in it. So I got it sitting in my drain pan here, the drain hole from the pan, angled so it's finishing draining out. Make sure you support it as it comes off, or it will tip and you will spill it everywhere. That's the inside of my transmission. We're going to be changing the filter here. Got a brand new one. Let it finish dripping out here, and then I'll figure out my bolts for that and get it taken out. Alright, those 4 bolts were also 10 millimeter. So now, pulling those out, I've got them loosened. Set that over here. My drain pan is when that comes loose, it'll be going everywhere too. Thought I had that loose. That one's loose. Oh, this one here is still tight. It was just too tight to turn with the fingers. Now I got it. Yeah. I'm going to pull the other 2 and drop this. And again, I want to support it while I'm pulling those last bolts out so it doesn't just fall. Yeah, that'll be right down to the drain pan, make a mess. Alright. I am real pleased with the way the pan looks. I've already gotten some grass and stuff down in it here. I'll have to be real careful when I clean it up not to get anything back in it, but the pan itself is very clean. A little bit of build up on the magnets, but not bad at all for, I'm assuming it's his first change. Got about 185,000 miles on the vehicle. The filter itself though, you can see in there, I think that screen's pretty dirty. And when you pull this down, this whole filter is full of fluid, and so you keep it over your drain pan. and then you'll have to pour out whatever's left in the bottom of your pan as well. All right, let's get this all cleaned up. All right, I've got that all cleaned up. Got the magnets back in place. A little crooked. Got my new gasket, filter, and fluid lined up here. What you need to do is take some of your transmission fluid and coat lightly the surface here before you put your gasket on. So the best way to do that is put some in the cap. Look how red that is compared to the old stuff. And take your finger, dip it in there, and rub it around the edge. Doesn't need to be a whole lot, but you don't want to put the gasket on dry. It won't seal very good. All right, take the gasket out. This is a rubber gasket. The filter actually came with a cork gasket, but I ripped it accidentally the other day when I was getting ready to do this project, and had to order another one. Well, two hands is nice. All right, what you can do is take your bolts, a couple of them, pop them up through, and it'll help hold your gasket in place while you put this under the vehicle. I'm gonna go ahead and lightly coat this side of the gasket as well. Also want to coat the gasket on the filter. Help it slide up into the hole a little bit easier as well. A little lubrication. All right, under I go. All right, I get the new filter up in here. That's where it goes in. Push it up in there, nice and firmly. Alright, then once you got those finger tight, and tighten them back up with your 10mm socket. These don't need to be real tight, just firm. If you laid them with your pan bolts, you're going to want to make sure you put the right ones back in. The pan bolts have a washer, but the filter ones do not. Alright, next step is to put the pan itself back up in there. I got dirt, some kitty litter from where I made a mess on by my pan, so I've got the drain plug back in there, and I'm going to clean that off real quick. Some brake clean, just blast it off of there. And then I'll come back and tighten these pan bolts up to their specified torque, which I'll have to look up. Alright, the torque spec for these pan bolts is 7 Newton meters, which converts to 61.9 inch-pounds, which is what my wrench uses. So I'll tighten all those down now. All right, I got all those torqued down. Now the drain plug itself torques to 20 foot-pounds, which is 177 inch-pounds. And to fill the transmission, because there's not a regular fill tube up in the engine compartment, I have to use this transfer pump. Rip into that. Alright, I'm going to take and put these hoses in the pump. Well, in this particular pump, I figured out that the top port is the suction and the bottom is the one that will go into our transmission to pump the fluid in. Well, if I get it over the drain pan here, we'll warm her up. There we go. Okay, you hear it working. Oh, it's gonna start coming. I saw it jump. Well, here we go. Do it this way. Ah, now. That fluid come all the way through. See? So let's slide under here. Try to do this without spilling fluid everywhere. So with the drain plug out, the pan, or the check plug rather, out, and the pan underneath, I have put my bottle of new fluid here with the pump tube down into it, and the other end goes into the fill port on the transmission, and I'll pump it until fluid starts coming out of that check port. And there the fluid comes out of the check plug. Sorry for the blurry camera, I've got a little bit of transmission fluid on my lens. Once that slows, I'll put the plug in and we'll get in the vehicle and bring the transmission fluid up to temperature and run it through the gears so that it gets pumped throughout the transmission. And then we'll check it again. For this part, you have to use a code reader to get the transmission temperature. Yeah, I have this simple little OBD2 scanner. It was fairly cheap. You just plug it into your port. There's an app on my phone that connects to it, and it will tell me everything I need to know. I need to plug this in, connect, and run it through all the gears here and bring the temperature of the transmission fluid up to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we'll check everything again. There's my port. This plugs in this way. Start the vehicle up. on the brake. Just go through the gears here. Wait about 10 seconds in each gear. Neutral didn't want to stay. Go back through them. Now I have to cut the video here to pull up my app for the OBD2 reader. I will try to take a screenshot of that and include it, show you what I'm looking at here. And then once the temperature gets up to 100 degrees, you pull that check plug again, and if fluid comes out, you wait till it stops draining, put the plug back in, tighten everything down. If nothing comes out, you have to add a little bit more until it does come out, and then you should be good. All right, now with the car running in park here, I'm going to pull this drain plug, or check plug, and see if anything comes out of there. You've got to watch the exhaust pipes. All right, we do not have anything coming out, so I need to add. And like I said, everything is getting warm. I think shit's getting warm. This would really be a good time for a lift or some good car stands. Oh, that's hot. I'm gonna have to route this different this time. Hold on, I'll be good. Finally get some gripping again. Once that finishes, I'll put it back in, tighten everything down, and then we should be good to go. Everything seems pretty smooth now. Here and get on this road with a 65-mile-an-hour speed limit, and we'll see real quick. Make sure everything's good. Thank you to O'Reilly's for taking my used transmission fluid. Recycle that. driveway workshop. We'll see what we get into next time.